So the first look at the Galaxy Z Fold 8 Wide is out, and honestly, this is one of those updates where you're not sure whether to be impressed or slightly confused. Let's get into it. So after dropping the official CAD renders of the Z Fold 8, OnLeaks is now back with the renders of the Z Fold 8 Wide. And yeah, this thing brings some interesting changes. Here are 7 things you need to know. First off, this is a seriously short and wide foldable. The cover screen comes in at 5.4 inches and the inner display is 7.6 inches. On paper, that sounds smaller than the regular Z Fold 8, but when you look at the actual screen surface area, it's only about 13% less, so it's not as big of a downgrade as it initially sounds. Where this phone really stands out is its width. I took these official CAD dimensions and scaled both the Fold 8 and Fold 8 Wide side by side, and the difference is immediately obvious. The Fold 8 Wide is noticeably wider. Even in landscape, it still stretches out more than the standard model. That extra width actually makes a noticeable difference when it comes to media consumption. On the regular Fold, when you're watching videos, you often get those thick black bars because of the taller aspect ratio. On the wide models, those bars are significantly reduced, so even though the screen itself is technically smaller, the actual video content appears larger. Sure, vertical content isn't ideal here, but just rotate the phone and you're good. And for multitasking, this aspect ratio is kinda perfect. You can run 3 apps side by side and it doesn't feel cramped. Even on the cover screen, despite being shorter, vertical content fits better and videos actually look bigger than on the Z Fold 8. Moving on to thickness, the Z Fold 8 Wide measures 4.3 millimeters when unfolded and 9.8 millimeters when folded. So yeah, slightly thicker than the regular Fold 8, not by a huge margin, but enough to notice if you're comparing them side by side. Now the biggest difference between the two models has to be the camera setup. The Z Fold 8 Wide drops down to just 2 rear cameras. We're getting a 200 megapixel main sensor and a 50 megapixel ultra wide, and that's it. No telephoto lens at all. To be fair, Samsung's 3x telephoto hasn't exactly been amazing. It's a small sensor and struggles in low light. We've already seen on phones like the S26 Ultra that cropping into a 200 megapixel shot can actually give you better 3x results than using the dedicated telephoto. So for a short-range zoom, you're not really losing much. But once you go into longer zoom ranges, like 10x and beyond, yeah, you'll start to notice the drop in detail. So zoom is definitely the weak point here. Other than that, it's pretty much on par with the regular Fold 8. The Fold 8 is getting a 5,000 mAh battery, while the wide version is expected to come in at 4,900 mAh. Given that the wide version has slightly less screen area, battery life between the two should be very similar in real-world use. Both phones will run on the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 for Galaxy. Both get Samsung's new creaseless display tech, faster 45-watt charging, anti-reflective panels, and that new display safety feature that alerts you if something is stuck between the screens when closing, similar to what we saw on the Z Trifold. There's also some talk about the S Pen support making its way to the wide model, but it's coming from not-so-reputable sources, so treat it as speculation. As for pricing, the regular Z Fold 8 is expected to stick around the $2,000 mark, and since the Fold 8 Wide drops a camera and slightly trims the battery, it'll probably come in about $100 cheaper. That would also put it slightly below Apple's upcoming foldable. And let's be honest, that's exactly why this phone exists. Samsung is clearly positioning the Z Fold 8 Wide to go head-to-head with Apple's foldable iPhone. The dimensions, the dual camera setup, it's not even subtle. We've seen this playbook before with the S25 Edge versus iPhone Air situation, and that didn't exactly go great for Samsung. So yeah, let's hope this turns out better. Production-wise, Samsung is reportedly making around 1 million units of the wide model and 3.5 million for the regular Fold 8. Both are expected to launch together, likely in July, so this isn't some experimental side project like the Trifold. This is a proper full-scale release. At the end of the day, you could argue we have Apple to thank for this. If they weren't working on their wide foldable, this probably wouldn't even exist. But I'm curious, does losing the telephoto camera bother you? And if these prices are accurate, which one would you actually pick? We want you to stay with us by subscribing and share your valuable feedback through comments. See you in the next video.